51-49 split in the Snap poll from the public, Graham Davies. How did you think they fared?
Well, I felt it between Corbyn and Johnson, it was a grubby, low-class, low-scoring draw. But in my opinion, the real losers were ITV because their ridiculously rushed format meant that serious issues were somewhat trivialised, and it meant that the whole exercise changed from being a serious debate into a frantic farce, a sort of pre-Christmas pantomime.
Graham Davies, do you agree they'll both have come away feeling relatively happy with their performance? Where do you think they were at their strongest and also at their weakest?
Well, the ideal television political performer in a debate scenario is somebody who combines carefully controlled calculation at the core with a sprinkling of sparkling spontaneity over the top of it. And Jeremy Corbyn was one who managed to do that combination the most effectively.
He had the quickest responses in that quick-fire question round on the Christmas present, for example.
Absolutely. In the rather flawed debating format, he was the man who managed to adapt to the circumstances faster. He managed to do fast, crisp, punchy answers to questions and was able to generate rounds of applause and laughter. However, the biggest palpable hit was scored by Boris Johnson, by continually pinning him down on whether he would vote for or support Leave or Remain in any future referendum. And what Jeremy Corbyn was doing was, instead of answering the question head-on, he would sidestep, go round in a circle and end up exactly where he started, leaving nothing of value in the middle. It's called a devil's donut, and he did that on 7, 8 or maybe even 9 occasions.
Do you think Boris Johnson's strategy, though, of repeating this message of get Brexit done, which he rammed home well and truly last night, regardless of what he was asked about, really, do you think that worked, or do you think the audience would have been thinking, OK, enough now?
I think it's a technique that belonged more in 2015 than 2019.
A Linton Crosby type.
Of Linton Crosby continually repeating, banging the audience over the head. But I think now, with the instant access to social media that we have 24 hours a day, the general viewing audience are wise to that ploy. And very quickly, constant repetition means that the politician who's doing the repeating becomes a parody of himself, his own spitting image puppet. It was almost as if he was going towards the disastrous repetition that we saw of Strong and Stable, and Boris Johnson was a graduate of the Theresa May School of political debating.
And Graham, just before we finish, what impact do you think last night's debate will have? It was historic because it was the first head-to-head between the two leaders that we have ever seen. Will it make a difference in the long term? Postal votes are going out, of course.
Of course they are. Well, going back to the origin of political TV debates in 1960, the Kennedy-Nixon debates, and since then, over the last 70 years, 60 years, we haven't really seen a debate that's made any major difference to the eventual result of any election in any country, and I think that's going to be the case.
Made a difference to Nick Clegg?
Maybe a little, but on the other hand, he actually lost a seat in that general election. He went down in 2010 from the 2005 total number of seats that the Lib Dems had. So it looked as though it made a difference in that election. In the end, it made no difference whatsoever.
OK, Graham Davies, Kezia Dugdale, thank you both very much indeed for your time.